The intersectionality of sports and social justice issues is a topic I'm particularly interested in about because I believe sports is a way of bringing people together, and I believe sports should be tied into social justice issues because we've seen in recent years the rise of athletes using their platform to better help their communities and better help move the needle forward and get conversations started. I think the biggest one people like to point their examples to, whether you're for it or against it, is Colin Kaepernick taking a knee against police brutality, not against the national anthem. Football, basketball, and soccer have been some of the biggest sports where we've seen athletes speak about social justice issues and using their voice to impact others and the community. I wanted to hear from UGA students, people in the sports media program, and people who are not affiliated in sports in general about how they feel sports intertwines with the rest of the world.
Sports has become this ever-changing world that we live in, and I think as a female trying to go into sports, it's really interesting to sit into all my classes and look around the room and see how it's predominantly white, predominantly male.
And race and gender has been always been connected in a way. Initially, I think a lot of people thought that sports is a way to get away from a lot of the problems that people are facing, whether it's gender issues or political issues or whatever. But sports and race and gender has been hand in hand.
Working here at the University of Georgia, I struggle with a couple of things whenever I walk into a football stadium and see that all the fans look absolutely nothing like any of our players. I just wonder how that dynamic is and how the players feel about that. I think our country has experienced a lot of issues with race relations over the past few years, and I think the election had a lot to do with that.
So if you're taking a stand for something that you feel is unjust or not right, then I feel like that's the highest act of patriotism. And I think it really sparked people to stand up and try to improve the country, and I thought that was great.
The NFL might be a little bit more conservative and older versus the liberal-minded, more focused league in the NBA. And you can't ignore how sports and gender and race all intersects.
Not have to, the organizations don't have to hold a press conference every single time a player has an opinion, and that's something that's really appealing to me because they're adults and they're human beings, and I think that's something that's really not acknowledged, especially as African American males. I think they have the right to talk about what happens to their race, and I think they have the right to talk about the problems that we have in this country, because if we don't start a dialogue, then how do we change? So, like as a female going into sports, gender is a huge thing, but I'll be honest, I think race relations are the biggest thing that are affecting sports nowadays. I think African American males are not heard enough.
I think that it's awesome that athletes are starting to speak out more and more. They really do have a big platform, and I think that they should use that platform for whatever they believe in, even if it's something you or me might disagree with. I think it's their right, it's a constitutional right, and I think it's awesome that they speak out for whatever social justice or issue that they feel is important. They really can do a lot of change, and their voice means a lot.